Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gad, your host. This will be a twin flames natal charts analysis. The female is on the left. That's her chart. She requested it. I really had to start this video over because as soon as I looked at it, I noticed a couple of things, and I'm going to try to explain that. But before I do, every new natal chart order always gets a free astro natal report that will explain astrology, the 12 houses of astrology, all the signs, how they correspond with the archangels, talks about tarot cards, some info on chakras. Now, here's the situation, and I was debating on what I was going to do about it because as soon as I looked at it, and I'm going to explain this now, but in the case where they tell you, oh, if you don't know your time of birth, just say 12 p.m. And that may work if it's just looking at your natal chart. But when you're dealing with twin flames, you really need to be a little more specific. So I was trying to see if we could do it this way. But we can, but you just have to remember that because the time, his birth time probably wasn't 12 p.m. Probably. So some of the things you're going to see may not be correct. But it's correct enough to be able to determine that they're twin flames because I wouldn't have did the chart because really it would be wasting my time and then it would be wasting a person's time. But that's what I says. I stopped. I literally stopped it because I just sat here and just looked at it. So we can do this, but what I'm trying to tell you from the start is some of your planets are probably going to be in a different house, and I can give you examples. Your true north node, which will be the third house in this case, is saying Pluto retrograde in Libra. So as soon as I see the true north node, that's your life purpose, and it's usually going to have your twin soul is going to be connected to your life purpose. So then I can look right at their chart, and I also see Libra in the third house. But I notice Pluto is with Virgo. But I'm assuming that if we had the correct time, Pluto would be in that third house. So you have to keep that in mind. And I saw some other things as well. So then when you see her Juno, which is somebody you may end up in a serious relationship with, that could be your soulmate, but it could also be your twin soul. The twin soul is a different person, same soul. A soulmate is anybody part of your soul family. Because the bottom line is, you could take two people that hate each other, and if you put them on an island and told them they're going to need each other to survive, and nobody's coming to help them, and there's nobody on the island watching them and stuff like that, and they need each other to survive, they're going to get past that hate. And when you finally come back to that island, those two people may have even had children together and they now have a relationship together because they got past the ego. They got past the third dimensional BS, the visions and the fears. So anybody's in your soul family if it all comes from source. So right away you're seeing her Juno. So she's going to find herself in some type of serious relationship with either Sagittarius, Neptune energy, or Scorpio, Uranus energy. So when you look at the chart over there, you see Neptune with Sagittarius and Neptune retrograde with Sagittarius and Scorpio. So that's how you know. Stuff like that. The natal charts for twin flames will always complement each other. Now I'm still looking at her chart just to see if it's anything else. Now when you go over to his chart to the right, again, his vertex says he'll be in a relationship with a Capricorn. And her vertex says she'll be in a relationship with a Capricorn. And they're both in the 5th house, or the 6th house, ruled by Virgo. And maybe that may be why that would explain maybe that's why her Pluto, his Pluto retrograde is in Virgo. So that's why. That's the only thing I was worried about. Why is his Pluto over there? But now it makes sense. So the time is good. The 12 p.m. time is good. Now when you go to his true north node, which is his life purpose, will be Pisces energy. Pisces energy in the 8th house. Still dealing with that Scorpio energy. Scorpio rules the 8th house. So when you look at her chart, you see her sun sign is Pisces. So once again, it's identifying her. When you go to his Juno, it's saying he will find himself in a serious relationship with somebody with Sagittarius or Aries energy. And when you look at her Sagittarius in the 9th house, you see Venus, which is love, and you see Chiron. They both have Chiron in the 9th house, which means they're in tune with the higher self, which we'll talk more about. And they both had that Sagittarius connection. These are two highly psychic people, and they can talk through telepathy, and they can talk through dreams. Whenever you're dealing with Neptune and Pisces, you're dealing with dreams and telepathy, the subconscious, and also Neptune and Sagittarius is like telepathy, astral planing, being able to talk to other things, other people all over this creation. So his moon sign is Leo with Pisces rules the 12th house. We've already proven the Pisces connection, and then we have the moon sign. Let's give me a moment. And the Virgo connection is the soulmate, the vertex cross. That's in the 6th house ruled by Virgo, and that's her moon sign is Virgo. So you can see these are twin flames. So that's the only thing that threw me off really was that Pluto. But now I understand why the Pluto is in Virgo. So the time is good. The 12 p.m. time that was given is good. But now we have to look at the 12th house. Both their 12 houses were put in the first. Both their 12 houses were made into the 1st house. So this usually deals with birth issues, prenatal, when the baby is still in the womb, and then when they're born. That's the 12th. Usually the 12th in the 1st house. So we got to find out a little bit about what was going on at both their births. And I'm going to do both of those at the same time. It's always good to take notes. Twin flames can be real complex, but you can find twin flames that get along. But a lot of times they don't get along, which is why I tell people to listen to DNA Awakening. A lot of times they take each other into a lot of pain and a lot of separation. But the key is to not take it personal, because this is going on earth-wide to a whole lot of people. And if you are with your twin and you guys get along, and you're blessed, because a lot of twins take each other through so much pain and so much separation. All right, give me one moment. All right, so again, 12th house became the first house as soon as they put AC and EP. AC. Now, how this works, when we do the left side, because normally I used to do the left side first, but Spirit is leading me to do whatever I'm doing. I'm just going with Spirit. I'm definitely going to do this part, both charts, same time. Alternate. And then for the 12th and the first house, because this has to do with the birth. The AC, so whenever I explain what it means, and whenever I explain the house and the sign, then when we get to the right side, you already know what that is. That's why I said take notes, because I can't explain it all again, because we'd be here forever. But I would definitely explain what it means as far as why it's in that particular house and how it's going to affect their personality and their life and everything. That'll, of course, be explained, but I'm not going to explain the symbols again because we have already done that. So AC is your ascendant, your rising sign. This is where the sun was going over the horizon when you were born. Your ascendant, your rising sign is when the sun was rising over the horizon when you were born. The EP is called the east point. It's when the sun was going over the ecliptic when you were born. Your first house is not always your rising sign. It's not always your AC. People have that confused. Your first house is ruled by Aries and shows your personality. But whenever they put your 12th house, they make your 12th house a first house, there's a reason for it. Probably a past life reason, which is why you see retrogrades, and probably something that had to do with the birth. That's why I'm doing it this way. And to me, these two have had a similar life, just looking at their charts and things. Because it's that way with twins sometimes. And sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. So, this is the first thing we want to look at. So now your 11th house became your 12th house, and your 12th house became your first house. And when you see that, just be mindful of the first house as well. So normally we would be looking at the 12th house and the first house, but since the creator did it the way they did it, we have to look at those houses just to be mindful. The 12th house usually deals with the baby in the womb, and the first house usually deals with the birth, the baby coming out. But again, as I'm explaining, because they did it that way, you just have to. This is not technical. A lot of people don't understand. This is spirit, and a spiritual book. One spiritual book is the Bible, and you see it John chapter 3, where Nicodemus represented people who try to understand the spirit through technical stuff, writings and law and all this stuff. And Jesus tried to tell Nicodemus the spirit is like wind, and the wind does what it wants to. The wind goes where it wants. The wind lifts where it wants. But anyway, it's going to do what it wants to. So you got to learn how to. That's why they say intuition. Without intuition, you won't understand astrology or anything, no matter how many classes you took and everything. And sometimes it just takes over. Like I said, I'm just going right now. I'm just going where spirit's leading me. You got to know how to. It's more intuitive than anything, but you can't sleep on. Like you should still have knowledge, and that's the game between the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, the uh the mind and emotions. So that's how these houses are. Wherever I go, I will explain what I'm doing, but I'm trying to set the basis of why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, so this is what we're gonna look at first. There'll always be a unique connection between Virgo and Leo. Even when you go to the pyramids, the Sphinx at the head was really a cat, the cat family, and that would be your virgin or your mother. And the body of the Sphinx was a lion, that's Leo. So you got Mother Mary, and then you got Jesus, who is the Lion of Judah. So you're always going to see a unique connection between Virgo and Leo, not just in astrology, but in the ancient histories and everything, the ancient cultures, and even in our cultures, like with the Catholic Church. All right, I'm just still looking at the charts. Okay, so we have Cancer or the Moon. If you have Cancer or the Moon around the 12th or 1st house, the pregnancy and birth are highly emotional for the mother. Security issues with the mother's marriage or in the mother's life in general are often found, such as the stability of the marriage or housing or money. A focus on the home is common, whether it's remodeling or moving. The mother may feel a vague sense of worry over caring for her new child. So now you see that moon with him, and you see the moon with her. And again, where? Virgo and Leo. Just to let you know, your mother represents the moon and Cancer. That's Imum Coeli. Whatever woman raised you whoever raised you in a motherly compassion, motherly position when you were younger, that woman or that person, because sometimes men have to raise because there's no woman around, but that person will stay in your subconscious the whole time you're on this planet, your whole life on this planet. And also, they're connected. They're connected to the universe. Like the more intuitive and awake you become, you'll see. Like if you're around your mother, you'll see your mother acting strange and stuff with the moon. See, I know all that stuff. I know all that space stuff. But you'll see it. And even with the twin flame relationship, you'll see it. Just little like everything. I like my mother, she still travels the world sometimes. And she'll go everywhere where there's like a major catastrophe. And she'll go. Like she'll just happen to be going on a church trip or something like that. And I'll come back and I'll come. Did you know there was an earthquake? She'll be like, no. Did you know there was a bombing? She'll be like, no. But she like goes everywhere. So all this stuff is mystical, but it's all for a reason. Or like my twin's name is Rose, so my mother will just out of nowhere get roses, or she'll get a card. Somebody will give her a business card or have a rose on it, and she'll leave it on the table. So the twin is always talking to you. So this is how it works, especially for people in separations. So I'm just trying to tell you that so you have a better understanding. So see, Virgo represents the Virgin Mother Mary, and also Vesta, which is right there. Vesta, that little asteroid in your, it says 11, but that became your 12th house. That's Vesta, and you see Vesta over there with him too. Vesta works with Virgo. So that's why I'm trying to tell you the motherly connection between what it says. It says 11, 12, 1, but it's really 12, 1, 2. Because they made your 12th house your first house. And they did the same thing with him. So I'm trying to show you why all this is going on and the connections. See, our forefathers, our ancients, first off, they were a matriarch system. Now, when these people took over the planet and put us in a matrix, they changed everything into a patriarch system. And that's why if you want to go to a matriarch system, you got to go over to India somewhere, because then they deal more with the moon. We deal more with the sun, which is masculine and patriarch. But to really understand who you are and to understand astrology, you have to go back matriarch. And that's what your houses are saying. So Vesta can be very spiritual. She helps the family. She helps the individuals. She's working with Virgo, who represents the Divine Mother or the Virgin. Like on September 23rd, 2017, everything began to change. And if you notice, we're having more full moons now, super moons and all that, than we've ever had. Not in one month and all this stuff. It's gonna happen again in March. We have a new moon on February 15th, right around Valentine's Day. All of this is happening for a reason. So that's why I said I'm spending more time on this, because that's what I'm led to do. So that's why you'll understand why Virgo is predominant on your chart. And even when people get readings, they say, okay, you can get your sun sign, your ascendant, your rising sign is your ascendant, and your moon sign. And if you're looking for love, do Venus. Do your Venus sign. Wherever Venus is, take that sign. And that may work. And I tell people, if it works for you, if it resonates, fine. But really, when you're doing your moon sign, you should go over to a Hindu website or an India website, because they actually do the moon sign. When you take your moon sign and you do it, you let a sun sign read it, then that's not, you're taking the sun, and like her moon sign is Virgo, so she needs to go to a Hindu website to get her moon sign reading to see if it works. But now if it resonates, then she should go wherever it resonates. Like if she's getting it done that way and it's never right, then she may not want to use it. But she may get more insight, because the moon is going to deal more with your psychological makeup, your conscious, your subconsciousness, your emotions, the feminine side. And we all have a yin and a yang. No matter what we think, we all have a yin and a yang. So that's what the moon represents for him and her. Whether it's in the 12th house or the first house, it's implying that the mother may have been a little concerned, and there may have been some security issues that she was thinking about. Now it goes to the Leo or the Sun. The mother is proud during pregnancy, and the pregnancy is inspiring to her. She feels that the pregnancy fulfills her and gives her meaning in life. There may be issues related to the heart of either the child or mother, or blood pressure issues during the birth. The birth may be slightly early and is celebrated. Now, when you deal with the heart, that's also the 4th house, which we'll talk about when we get there. But the 4th house deals with the heart. So whenever you see Cancer, the 4th house or the moon, it can still deal with the heart. And the reason why they're saying the heart for Leo, because Leo deals with Regulus. And the Leo constellation is the heart of the lion, which is Regulus. So that would be the case for him. And because he's got the moon and Leo, which is a sun sign, so he's got the moon and the sun in his 12th house, which became the 1st house because of the ascendant and the EP being placed there. Scorpio or Pluto. Power or control struggles during the pregnancy are found in this placement. The unborn child can be the centerpiece of power plays between the father and mother or the in-laws. Suspicions may run high during the pregnancy relating to any possible issue at hand. The mother is careful during the pregnancy and does not trust anyone. She is careful to maintain her resources for the coming birth so that she will not be in need when the baby arrives. So now where you see Scorpio or Pluto, you do see it over here. And that became the first house. See, with his Virgo. So there were some mother concerns at both of y'all's births. Both of your moms. And also, when Pluto is retrograde, you just have to keep that in mind. But since we're only talking about birth, we'll accept it. We'll accept the interpretation of Pluto in your first or 12th house. But if we were doing your natal, which we will be doing, then we would have to give you the interpretation of what Pluto retrograde means. But we're not going to do that yet. But usually it means something can be taken away suddenly. Something we're trusting and hoping in. It could just mean a shakeup. So that could have happened during birth, but not necessarily. Capricorn or Saturn. A mother who is overwhelmed with responsibilities during pregnancy or working very hard while pregnant. Her resources may be limited and her life in general may be difficult during this time. And if you notice you guys have a big Capricorn on your charts. Sometimes that can mean an old soul. Like if you were young but you were pretty mature for a young person, then you're probably an old soul. The child may seem like a big responsibility to the mother. The birth may be difficult, lengthy, or go overturn. A surgery is often required, such as a cesarean section birth. So you do see Saturn on the left with Leo. All right, so that what we just did was describe possibly the pregnancies. All right. So now we'll begin to focus primarily on the chart on the left. We will now treat your first house as the first house, even though it was the 12th, but they made it into the first. But if for any reason we have to go back to it being the 12th house, we will. The 12th house deals with endings, and we'll keep that in mind. It's dealing with the shadow side and the darker personality and also past life and things inside. But right now we'll treat it as the first house because that's how they made it. Okay, this is the leader. Leo is the leader, the bold one, the loving person, loyal to friends, faithful. But they don't like when you're disloyal to them. And any small infraction is disloyalty to a Leo. Because a Leo will give you all. And if you might not be, and everybody's not a Leo, so a Leo might give all for you. And you might, you're not a Leo, so you might be a little bit more subconscious and worried or whatever. And you'll give a little back, or you might not give anything back. And a Leo doesn't like that. That's disloyalty to a Leo. They love children. They're childlike. They love fun. Very creative. They're very creative. Probably, anything with music, entertainment, anything creative, sports, you name it, they love it. Now, I'm telling you Leo because when I get to your 5th house, it's ruled by Leo. So, of course, I'm not going to say that all over again. So, your 12th house has a lot to do with your 1st house. Let me say that again. Your 12th house has a lot to do with your 5th house, but also your 12th house is opposite, usually, your 6th house. But we have to be careful because they made your 12th house your 1st house. So we have to be careful. But that is going to happen. It's the way they did it. So you got to really go what's directly opposite your house because that's going to be the opposition on this chart. So they're kind of like even manipulating it a little bit with 7th and 8th house. Right, so taking risk is Leo, children, child things, being like a really great friend. Leo tries to look out for everybody they care about, very protective. But you're going to be very aggressive with it because that's Aries. And sometimes Aries can be aggressive, or it can just be very forward moving, very focused, but it's still going to come across that way. Now, when you see Pallas retrograde usually means social issues. So this person is very interested in, like saying, helping the poor, or helping women causes, or social issues, minority issues. So this being your rising sign, that's how people would see you, with that Leo personality. Now, 7-Eleven, because we're talking a little bit about Spain. 7-Eleven, that's when the Moors invaded Spain. And they stayed there till according to their history, till 1492. All right, now you have your first retrograde, which is Saturn retrograde. Now, when I said your first retrograde, I'm going by planets. I don't necessarily see each retrograde for asteroid. See Pallas, that little diamond, that's a asteroid. And see, a retrograde Pallas retrograde could be a good thing because this person cares about social issues. So we don't view asteroid retrogrades the same way we do planet retrogrades. So let's look at Saturn retrograde. And I'll tell you, there is a little danger there. Saturn retrograde. Now, one of the two social planets, Jupiter is the second social planet. Saturn is going to slow everything down. But in retrograde, it can be a tough taskmaster. See, that's not cool. That's not cool because it could be somewhat bullying. You could be somewhat of a bully, especially, see, whenever you're dealing with Leo, you're dealing with children. And also, you got a lot of them, both of you and your twin have a lot of motherly energy. So you don't want to be a bully because people mean well, but you can come across as too much. And I know for a fact because I have Saturn retrograde on my chart, and it can mean abuse. It can be abusive. It all depends on where it is, especially with Leo or in the fourth house or something like that. You're dealing with family and you're dealing with children, so you have to really watch how you treat children, how you talk to children as well. Really, anybody. So that's why I'm trying to tell you about your 12th house. Your 12th house makes you face it, because the 12th house is all about saying, how do I use this energy in my 12th house to help other people, to put other people first. But then you have to be careful because the 12th house is ruled by Pisces and is also about sacrificing. So you might sacrifice too much. So you gotta know where to draw the line. But you also can't be a bully. See, I'm a Leo too. And I already know I'm a little bit older. I've done all this. I was doing all this in the 80s. So I know all about religion and coming in and trying to change the world and being Leo and idealistic. And Neptune is big on me too. So Neptune is idealistic and kind of like a deceiver. So you think you're going to come and you think the world is a great place and blah, blah, blah. And maybe depending on where you're at, it might just be. But generally, it's not always as great as it looks. It looks good on the outside, but inside you got a lot of flaws, a lot of hidden secrets. And that's why the 12th house even is buildings and churches and other buildings and stuff. Because inside those buildings is a lot of stuff that if you saw everything, you probably wouldn't want to be involved. So the 12th house makes you look at yourself, but how can I care for people and help people, but not let these people take everything from me? So the reason why I'm also telling you about your 12th house is because it's in your first house. But the way they did it is still your 12th house. So you got to remember that. Now, it's almost like if a police officer, you're speeding and a police officer stops you, and maybe he's talking to you, but you have a little attitude. So then he gives you a ticket. And then you have another attitude, and then he gives you another ticket. So when they put your 12th house in your first house, it's a lot of stuff from your past life that you still got to deal with in this life. But you still got to deal with everything in this life too. And that's why your house starts off with a retrograde. And Saturn is all about karma. So that's the one thing we don't want to be a bully, especially to children. Well, you don't want to be a bully at all. When Saturn is retrograde, things are going to take longer. Thinking might take longer. Can't take any shortcuts with a Saturn retrograde. Detailed plans should not be rushed. So you really have to work on patience. See? And like Leo and Aries, 2 fire signs. They don't want to have patience. You got to have it. You got to have it. And that's why I said when people take notes, start working on it. Because that's the real reason why you have your natal chart. That's the real reason why your twin comes into your life. It's a wake-up call. See, the people out here on YouTube, they think it's a love story. And they don't want to work. And they don't want to hear nobody tell them the truth. They just want to hear a love story. And they'll go to every new twin flame video. As soon as a new twin flame video drops, depending on what channel dropped it, it could have thousands of hits within just 30 minutes. See, these people don't want to work on a real relationship. They just want it to be, oh, it feels so good, or it's so powerful. They're just going with a feeling. But until you learn that this is a balance in between the two energies, you're going to have a problem. So this is when you have to learn how to slow down and look at yourself and work on yourself. So they're encouraging this person, don't just run through. Slow down. Take time to breathe. Learn how to do it right the first time. You may also have issues with authority. And that's one thing about a lion. A lion will stand up for itself. But you may be working with any type of legal matters or contracts. Types of deals may be delayed. Deadlines may get extended. Or you might find yourself working on something that you thought you already completed. This is all Saturn retrograde. So they're saying you may have always been in a conflict with authority. You may also feel persecuted by your boss or upper management, or anybody who you may feel like they're over you. You might feel persecuted. Now, you may abuse your own authority. You have difficulty in setting limitations. Because Saturn direct is all about limits and rules and regulations. Saturn retrograde is like this person is undisciplined. It says you may also have a problem with determining limits. But see, even though it's your first house, it's still your 12th house. You got to be careful because you got to be able to let people know. Because like people will take advantage of you. Especially like Leos. Leos really, they really work hard to make things work, and they really work hard to make people happy. But then they become unhappy because they see how people can just use you and take advantage, even take your ideas. Because Leos are very creative, so that's painful when you're trying to help out and you create something and somebody steals it and acts like they did it, or they take credit for something you did. That hurts, and everybody doesn't want to argue all the time. Now, in your case with Aries and Leo, you might in fire all that fire. You might like to stand up for yourself, but everybody doesn't do that. They just wonder how could people be so deceptive and selfish. So these are things to be aware of in your 12th house as well as your first house. So they say you may have a problem voicing your opinions to those in authority. Therefore, you allow yourself to be victimized. From a past life experience, you may have had a lifetime in an abusive situation. You may have been the victim or the abuser. You may have been a prisoner, enslaved, or you may have been an abusive ruler. Along with these situations, you were probably immensely impatient. looking for an easy way out of being abused, or looking to make your life easier by making others do even the simplest of tasks for you. So again, you don't want to, because that's what I'm trying to say. Get the kid will do it. The kid will do it. I've heard people say, "Oh, the reason why you have children is so that they take care of all the work." You know, that's not cool. If you don't view children as loving and to help with and be patient with, then that's a problem. So any form of bullying or abuse, that's what this house is telling you to work on, to overcome it, to get help to overcome it. And that's what they say right here. To overcome these lessons, you must learn the lessons of patience and the accountabilities of being a leader. Because you are a leader, you're a Leo. But now keep in mind, they don't know you're a Leo. This is just Saturn retrograde. They don't know you're a Leo. But a Leo is a leader. But there's accountability. Now, if you feel abused, you got to hold anybody you feel abused you accountable for their actions. And you must learn to constructively voice your concerns and opinions. That way you will take control in this part of your life, and you'll end the cycle of victimization. And it's funny they're saying ending, because that really is your 12th house, and that is the house of endings. And it's the house of reckoning. Reckoning means when you finally face the shadow sides, you face things that have gone on that you haven't faced until now. And that's how they start your chart off. They made your 12th house the first house because they're telling you it's that important. So you got to, if you are abusive in any way, you have to stop. And they said don't have an unrestrained lifestyle. That means somebody that's just running. You have to focus on making plans, setting strategy, and working hard on your own task. And it doesn't mean you can't help other people, but it's good to realize that people should be helping themselves. And that's something I learned a long time ago. See, what happens with you get, like, a lot of people are religious. So you hear religion and you think you're just supposed to help everybody and all that. No, some of these people can help themselves. Like, if you have a car and people are always calling you to drive them around, especially if they don't even want to give you gas money, they should have their own car if they're an adult. You don't have to help everybody. What about your own life? And that's one of the reasons why relationships fail. Because so many people are running out trying to save the world, and they're not even trying to save their own relationship. That's what the book of Job was about in the Bible. He was running around trying to save everybody, but he should have been home growing in the spirit with his own family. So God finally put an end to it in a very hard way. But that's Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde takes everything to make you start over. It's a reset. And Saturn's like that too. Saturn and Pluto are two lesson teachers, and Pluto's more impactful. Saturn is, like I said, you're speeding, the cop stops you, you get a ticket. That's Saturn. That's karma. Pluto's like, oh, not only you're not getting a ticket, you're getting pulled out of that car, your car is getting impounded, you might get the crap beat out of you. That's Pluto retrograde. And this is the real reason for Twin Flame, because it's forcing people to go metaphysical. It's forcing people to come out of the matrix. It's forcing people to seek answers. Because we're supposed to, and our ancestors knew that. Like, you hear the Native Americans, and they had the rain dance, they had the moon dance, they had the sun dance, because they were one with nature. If they needed rain, they would do something to start raining. And we could do the same thing, because the people that know me know that's all I do is space stuff. And I prove everything I say. So I know it's real. So we can't just stay, oh, I just want to be in love. Where's my twin at? What about a career? Oh, I want to be an actor or actress. That's good. But what is your purpose? Are you at one with your natal chart? Do you even have your natal chart? You understand? And so if you look at a space chart right now, you're going to see that the true north node is in Leo. Now me, and there's another Leo out here named Pink Pineapple Tarot. Now she's really good with those tarot cards, and she's on YouTube. She's a Leo too. But the universe is sending Leos because we've always been the leaders. This is the Lion of Judah energy. And what does the Lion of Judah do? He gathers the people back to God. So nothing's accidental or coincidental. And both of your first houses are Leo. Now for anybody want to know more about past life and stuff, if you know what you're looking for, see, whenever you deal with the soul, like deep soul stuff, because I deal with archangel cards, which are good, but when you deal with deep soul stuff, like stuff I'm talking about now, that's like a tarot card. But don't just go to anybody. That's why I said I just use pink pineapple tarot, because she's really good. Don't just go to anybody. But if you want to know stuff about your past life and stuff like that, that would be the best way to get that. Because I don't know any site on YouTube that really does it well. But what I try to tell everybody, once you have your natal chart, whenever you get any type of reading, it should go back to your natal chart. That's why you want your natal chart. Like, people to just get readings, that's kind of silly. Especially like if you don't understand astrology, because you won't even know what the cards mean. Like if the reader's giving you cards, but they don't know what it corresponds to, what sign, because you can go to your natal chart and get further insight. And that's what you see me doing out here. All right, so that is your 12th house. Well, also your first house. And when we get to your 12th house, we will be treating that one as 12. But this one you had to treat it both ways. First house, which is now your second house, this is all about finances, possessions, and your value system. Now, Virgo is very analytical. When you're dealing with the moon, you're dealing more internally. If you were dealing with the sun sign Virgo, it would be more externally. Internally, it's more subconsciousness, emotional, possibly spiritual. The sun is more, I'll put it like this. The moon, in my opinion, deals more with the soul. The sun deals more with the spirit. That's why when the Bible talks about Jesus coming, he's the sun of righteousness. The S-U-N, he has a star in the east. The star in the east could be the sun. He's the day star. See, and he always talked about the spirit, the spirit. So the moon deals more with the soul. Sun deals more with the spirit. But again, I already said that these two people are very psychic, very intuitive. So your finances and possessions will be dealt with. You'll be very good, very analytical when it comes to finances and possessions in your value system. And you surround all of this with your home. So you have a motherly Virgo, Virgin Mary approach, a home approach to your finances and stuff like that. And sometimes this person's finances could be connected to Virgo or the 6th house. And that's also about health, service, small children, animals, daily activities, subordinates, co-workers. So they may do some type of service to get finances as well. And we'll learn more about that as we go around the chart. Now the 3rd house is interesting. You see 8 because it's 88 constellations above us. That's Curious. Curious is also a nurturer. So we could tell that this person is a very nurturing person, because she's got a lot of Leo and Virgo energy going on. The Virgo is going to be the protector, and the Leo is going to be, let me do that again. The Virgo is going to be the nurturer, and the Leo is going to be the protector. And she has a lot of that energy. So this is your true north node, which is Gemini, the 3rd house. Gemini rules the 3rd house. This is all about short travel, communications, good mental skills, multitasking, your siblings, which is your brother and sisters, your community, which can still be your family, your community, whatever that is. Very creative, very artistic. The 3rd house is a lot like the 5th house. And this person is still going to be legal minded, fair, partnership. It could be a relationship, but we don't have enough evidence yet to prove that. But they do want to work with the community, because this is the brotherhood. House number 3 is a community around you, or the brotherhood. So they really want to work with it. But now, like I said, and this is your true north node, which is your life purpose. See, if you go right across from your true north node, that's your south node, and who are you looking at? Aries. Why? Because Aries is way too aggressive. So in this life, they're trying to show you to work with people, to be a little bit more considerate of people and their feelings as well. So like I told you, Pluto retrograde is there to take something away. And it's going to have something to do with Libra energy. What is a partnership? Maybe a relationship. See, anyway, Gemini, which I wasn't going to say, but now that I see Libra, now that I see the Pluto retrograde, see, Gemini is not good for relationships. That's why when I saw a Libra in your 3rd house, I said, well, that's probably partnerships. Because Gemini doesn't have the depth for a relationship. It's considered the baby stages of a relationship. Because a lot of twin flames go into separation. And that's usually based on Gemini energy. And even if your Gemini was in a 10th house, they would say this person probably doesn't keep jobs very, very long, or they go from job to job. Because it doesn't have the in-depth. But see, Pluto is there to make it have in-depth. So that's why I said Pluto will take stuff away to maybe help him appreciate relationships. Because that's what Pluto does. It just takes it away. Like if when you were home, you had a girlfriend or whatever, or a boyfriend or whatever, and then you get a car, and now you're driving that car all around, and you ain't got no time for that person. In fact, now you're meeting new people, you're feeling great, you're all over the place, you're self-sufficient. So the universe, Pluto retrograde, will come and destroy that car or something, so you can't get around. And that's why if you just unjustly get fired, and you say, I got fired, I shouldn't have got fired for that. Why did I get fired? Blah, blah, blah. And you're flipping out, but that's because the universe may have other purposes for you. That's why you have like angel cards. Unless you know how to do this all on your own. But angel cards are good for that, because they'll tell you why this is happening. So that's what's going on in your 3rd house. Whatever they have to do to push you into a relationship, they're going to do it. And that's the main reason why Pluto retrograde is in your house. It's going to devastate something, take something away that's going to push you more to a relationship minded. Because that's a mental house too. Gemini is very mental, so is Mercury. All right, give me a moment. Alrighty, let us continue. So then you go right into 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th house. This is how you know they're very psychic people, because now you're dealing, the moon rules Cancer, Cancer rules the 4th house. This is teenage to adult education, land and property, family and ancestors, vehicles or travel, and the heart. And again, whatever person raised you in a motherly capacity when you were younger, that's your Aimon Coeli. And then that person will be with you the entire life. This is why Alfred Hitchcock gave you the movie Psycho, because there will always be a weird connection to the mother in the universe. You can't get past it. And then Sigmund Freud always talked about how the mother affects people's minds and stuff, and even a lot of comedians did a lot of jokes about mothers and stuff like that. You see it all the time. The more you become awake and get out of this matrix, the more you'll see it in the animal kingdom. You'll see it all over. Now, we're going to show you, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. So it's about time we learn about the 8th house. and then we're gonna find out. We're gonna do a couple of things in this house because I'm doing this for a reason. We're going to tell you what it would mean if that was just Uranus and Scorpio. We're going to tell you what that means, but we're going to also show you what Uranus retrograde means, because that's what yours is. It's a retrograde. And this is all in the house of family. And just for the record, this is also where you may find yourself in a serious relationship with that type of person. And your Juno, to me, it looks like it's more in your 4th house, but it's so close to the 5th. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I already did, but whatever I didn't say before or whatever, I'll go over that. So before we continue, I was just telling you about the moon, the mother connection. I knew something was wrong because it's been a strange couple of days. But it ain't just been strange. Even with the moon, just a lot of weird stuff was going on. But my mother just came back from a doctor's appointment and she's got the flu. So the moon was trying to tell me that. And if you listen, because I got another show, another channel, and I was talking about it. I was saying, yeah, something weird going on. I can't figure it out. But so that's what it was. So there is a moon, like I said, there's a moon mother connection. You gotta learn like what they call etymology, like an MO. But the moon has always been considered like the mother. Even the crescent moon is connected to like a pregnant mother or secrets and mysteries and things. And this is why you got the Scorpio. Well, you got a lot of, we've already said that. Virgo, all that is all talking about really the mother, the feminine. All right. So now, we'll deal, whenever you see Scorpio in the 4th house, these could be soul family, soul connections, but a lot of stuff. It can be a lot of power struggles. A lot of things could happen. And all I can do is read them. Only each person would know that. And again, some readings you can go deeper. But whenever you're dealing with the soul, it's probably good to deal with a real good tarot card reader, usually. A lot of stuff I can do with the angel cards too, though. But some things, like even like past lives and stuff like that. Something with a deep soul. That's like a really good tarot card reader. But they got to know their stuff. All right. So the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So again, your 4th house has become your 8th house. And wherever you see Pluto, that's going to connect you back to your 4th house as well as your 8th house, wherever you see Pluto on your chart. Now, it deals with secrets, mysteries, doubt, accusations, suspicion, supernatural, psychic abilities, internal plotting, internal indignation, conspiracy, vengeance, revenge, anxiety, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, obsessions, addictions, anything having to do with sexual things. Let me find this. Obsession, addictions, compulsion, power struggles, manipulations, power manipulations, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behavior, codependencies, stalking, intense watery emotions, arguments, debates, tauntings, revenge, fear, intensity, psychic abilities, great transformation, high sexuality, doubt, debt, taxes, IRS, legal matters, court, law, suits, inheritances. Now let me stop. Like I said, whenever you see Scorpio, again, with family, you're dealing with children, could be abuse, things like that. Also with inheritances and things, especially when you're dealing with Libra, because that also could be dealing with inheritances of battling over wills or estates or possessions, or somebody dies battling over who gets what. Law breaking, shared resources, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, rebirth, rejuvenation, regeneration, animalistic behaviors, freaky, down and dirty behaviors, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, agents, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher sciences, holistic healing. See, whenever you see Uranus and stuff like that, and Uranus and Scorpio, you might be dealing with holistic healings, spiritual healings, alternative medicine is another Uranus thing. Internet, another Uranus thing, Uranus and Aquarius. Long distance, advanced technology is Uranus. Alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden, taboo. Astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, deceived persons, astral planning, telekinesis, telepathy, which a lot of twin flames have, dreams, interpretations, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritance, loans, banking, animals, pregnancy, woman's body, and finance. The eighth house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can mean debt, taxes, inheritances, wills, joint finances, shared resources, and loans. The eighth house is on the axis with the second house and is an axis of money. The second house is your money. The eighth house is the other people's money. So when you have Scorpio in your family sector, the fourth house, you're dealing with other people's money as well in that fourth house. And only you would know what that would mean. Transformation can be mental, emotional, physically. It can be sex, start of life, pregnancy, process of life, and major transformation to a woman's body, and death, both literally and or figuratively. The eighth house is one of three relationship houses. The fifth house is love. The seventh house is commitment. And they say the eighth house is sex. And again, you have your eighth house in your fourth house. Now, we're going to do Uranus direct in Scorpio. And just give me a moment. Okay, this is my astrology book, which is pretty good. We'll use them. And then I'm gonna see if Astro Matrix has it. Right? That's what we're looking for. Astro. Alright. Give me a second. So let's do Uranus retrograde first because yours is retrograde. When Uranus is retrograde, it means you expect the unexpected. Surprises come out of nowhere. These surprises can be wonderful or undesirable. Uranus is the eyeball of the planets in our solar system. It can bring whims of fancy that amaze and amuse. Or it can come with chaos, either externally in the world or internally in the individual. So when you see a Uranus retrograde, a person's wilder side may come to the surface. Or the outgoing person might all of a sudden become very shy. There's going to be extreme variations or opposites in your personality. And Scorpio is kind of like that anyway, even without Uranus retrograde. So you may find yourself behaving very differently than other people perceive you. So with Uranus retrograde, this person lives their life to extreme, and that goes back to what we said about you have to learn balance and learn how to be patient and slow down and breathe. So this person might be an extreme extrovert or an extreme introvert. They really don't have a middle ground. It's either black or white, hot or cold. In one of your previous lives, you may have been a rebel or a revolutionary, always fighting the establishment or looking for battles that challenge fairness. And you see that on your chart right now. But you may have pushed it to the extreme, like just looking for a fight wherever you go, which isn't cool. That's what I keep saying. That's just not cool. And so that they say extreme lifestyles can really mess your life up and the lives of people around you. So you need to learn that giving an inch can sometimes gain you a mile. You need to learn how to find a middle ground and learn how to compromise. And that's why I told you about your 12th house, because they need you need to learn compassion to help you live in someone else's shoes. And to learn that alternative views are not necessarily wrong, they're just different. Take a moment to appreciate the useful aspects of structure. Choose your battles and accept that some structure in life is not a good thing, but in some cases it is also required. I'm going to read that again. Choose your battles and accept that some structure in life is not just a good thing, but in some cases it's also required. So Saturn or structure is not always a bad thing. So that's the Uranus. So whatever I read about the 8th house that's in your 4th house, you gotta apply that definition to it, because that's what you have. You have a Uranus retrograde. So Uranus in Scorpio, Uranus direct in Scorpio means this person can receive intuitively from the planetary mind new ways to substantially transform the society as it is presently operating, especially on a worldly or sexual level. So they'll challenge the standards, whether it be family standards, material partnership standards, sexual standards. So Uranus is exalted in the sign of Scorpio. It means that Scorpio is Uranus' strongest, most creative sign placement, where expresses its energy in the highest, most positive form. You have a persistent and tremendous will. You will find a way to express yourself no matter what. And believe it or not, Libra can be like that too, and so can Virgo. But you just got to see, it from another person's viewpoint. Because some people just don't want people in their face all the time. So you got to know, like they're trying to show you how to do things without just being like really, really, too much. And then again, with Uranus, you're dealing with a lot of compulsive activity and things like that. But you can be a healer because he's Scorpio. That's what I mean about that alternative medicine. Because Scorpio is a healer, that water sign, and Uranus is alternative stuff. Metaphysics and holistic. Herbal. You could be a healer, surgeon, or psychologist as you are able to go deep beneath the surface into the cause of pain and the disease. If your Uranus is afflicted, you will have jealousy, envy, and possessiveness to deal with. And you can kind of add that to like a retrograde. But affliction doesn't have to mean a retrograde. It just means your placement on the chart. But usually I would add it if Uranus is retrograde, because you're still dealing with extremes. So they're telling you it is unwise to avoid the necessity for personal growth and regeneration this planet demands. And this is why I'm trying to teach people, get back to your chart. Because what you're doing, you're letting this person who put you in a matrix tell you it's cool to be rebellious, or it's cool, and you really believe that, but you're going to get judged by this. That's why when you know about reincarnation and all past lives, and why you got so many retrogrades and all that, that's what you're going to get judged by. Not by this whole matrix is about to come down. There's been other kingdoms before this one. They're all gone. They've all been overthrown and incorporated into this matrix. But they're about to be overthrown too. So you need to get back in contact with who the stars, where you come from, the universe. Because that's what's going to judge you. That's what's going to tell you where you go from here in the next life. So you have to avoid jealousy, envy, and possessiveness. So this person is morally capable of the highest and the lowest behavior. Passion must be joined by compassion, and we keep telling you that. Resentment must give way to understanding. So many people with this placement are innovative in sexual matters, anything taboo, and have insights into what makes our darker side tick. The mystical, the occult, and drugs hold your interest. So you gotta know all that. And remember, that was in a family house, the educational position, and all kind of stuff. Because that's why you see like a lot of people that make a lot of money or real estate and all kind of stuff, but they're all into drugs and all kind of kinky stuff and stuff like that. Give me one moment. I just have to check one thing out. All right, give me a moment. Just gotta check one thing out, and then we're done. We can move on. I mean. All right, now. Yeah, it's your fourth house. So again, Juno is telling you you'll find somebody with either that Scorpio, Uranus, which is Aquarius energy, or Sagittarius, or Neptune energy, or could even be Cancer, Moon energy, or Leo energy. So the first thing you do is you look over to the right and you look for Scorpio, and then you see Scorpio and Neptune. So you see it already, and it's the same thing as Sagittarius, just like I just said. So this is how you know this person is connected. And we've already shown it, they're twins. We've already proven that in the start of the video, but I'm just doing it again. So now your fifth house is all about fun, but this person is travel, and you like to travel. Like Sagittarius can also be foreign. So you like to travel to maybe for long distance foreign lands. Person might even speak more than one language. Very fun. But whenever you see Neptune, like Neptune, Leo, and Sagittarius are the most telepathic signs there are. So this person is like in they could even write. Like there's a woman out here called Sophia Stewart. If you were to see her natal chart, If you were to see her natal chart, I guarantee you would see stuff placement similar to this, because she really knew everything way before we did, and she's the mother of the Matrix movie, and I believe Terminator as well. And if you ask me, probably Total Recall, but she hasn't claimed that movie yet. But but she knew, and that's how she knew, was through placements like this. So these people, not only can you talk to your twin and be telepathic, but you got a lot of stuff coming from the universe as well. So your fifth house is like that, and it's really about travel. But we've already told you the fifth house is about fun and everything I already said. But you have to be careful again, because see, Leo wants to help everybody. And Neptune rules Pisces, and that's why Leo is in your 12th house, but they made it your first. But I've already explained that. So you just have to watch with the Pisces energy. Can be very self-sacrificing, and then you're going to be upset because people are not going to be as eager to help you as you were to help them. So you got to know how much to do, because you can't do everything for everybody. That you can't, baby. They call it, the reason why they say don't baby them, but what they're trying to say is you're acting like that person's mother, like you're sitting there and spoiling. And a grown adult should be able to get up and get their stuff together. So if they always need you to help them and do stuff, it's not good. You're babying them. You're too motherly. You're too nurturing. So you have to stop and become more. A real leader is trying to teach you to be a leader. See, that's how I'm a Leo. I try to teach people, and I find a lot of people really just want somebody else to do it, and they rather just talk to me like a baby and make me feel good, and I'll pay you whatever. And I'm like, nah, I don't really work like that. I'm trying to help you, because what's going to happen when you have to stand up on your own 2 feet and you can't? So I don't do that. But I see that out here on YouTube. You see it a lot. A lot of people just want you to talk to them nicely and baby them, and just pay you a lot of money. Same thing when people go to church. They'll go to church, they'll put some money in a plate, and then they'll come home and do whatever they want. But the whole point is you're supposed to be seeing how this is helping you to change, because Spirit is trying to help you to get ready for your next life. And that's how the Egyptians were. The Egyptians worked for the next life as well. They didn't just work for this life. They worked for the next life. And that's what the Messiah always preached about. Don't get so caught up on this world that you're not going to be ready for the world that's coming. So that's what's going on in your fifth house. Your sixth house again is about service, and it's also you're going to meet somebody with a Capricorn or Virgo energy. And if you notice, his Virgo has Pluto, which is really like Scorpio or the eighth house. But even so, his Capricorn also has the Virgo energy of the sixth house. So that's how you know they're like twin souls, because both charts tell a story. All right. And Capricorn is career and reputation. So this person wants to serve, but they serve as far as a career. Well, the sixth house, Capricorn is career and reputation, but the sixth house is all about service. I already explained your sixth house when I went to your second house. So your sixth house will also have a connection to your second house because of Virgo. And also your 10th house has Taurus. Well, Taurus rules your second house, is ruled by Taurus. So that's the whole career and service, but they're both concerned about their reputation as well. So whatever service they have, they're also concerned about their reputation. And their service may have something to do with finances, possessions, and value systems. But when you see Virgo there, it might have to do with health and healing. Because then when you deal with that, you're also dealing probably with that Scorpio energy again, which is a healer. So these people might be psychics or might be psychic healers. Okay, now here we go with Aries, Aquarius. In the 7th house, this is all about relationships, partnerships. This is all about relationships, partnerships. But it's a unique relationship. Like it won't be it won't be a conservative relationship. So what you think of as a normal relationship, partnership, normal contract, or what Libra normally means, because Libra rules the seventh house, it's not going to be that. It's gonna oppose. See, Uranus rules Aquarius, and they both don't like Saturn. They don't like standard. They want their freedom. They don't want to be told what to do. And Gemini can kind of be that way too. Gemini tries to be a little independent like Aquarius too, because they're both about community or brotherhood. So what the universe is trying to get you to do is to just mature a little bit, so that way you can stay in a relationship and stuff like that. But sometimes people are not ready for that. They're not ready for the seriousness that comes with the relationship, and that's what this sixth house is saying. Well, I want it to be innovative. I want it to be fun, and I want to be able to have my freedom. Now that circle with the X in it is called part of fortune and good fortune. It's a different words, but it's the same thing. And it is really it's closer to your sixth house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's closer to your seventh house than your eighth house, so we will be treating it as your seventh house. So let's do part of fortune or good fortune in the seventh house in Aquarius, but also conjunct Mars. Good fortune in the seventh house. This person with the good fortune in the seventh house was born after a full moon. So you were born after a full moon, so that's even more significant. You were born like full moon in Virgo. Give me one moment. All right, I think a delivery's here. I gotta come back. I'll be back. All right. Let me just see something. All right, looks good. All right, give me a moment. All right. All right. So, okay, so we're doing part of fortune and good fortune. So, yeah, the full moon also. All right, let's go. Just let me. Oh, it said. Oh, that was so sweet. That was so sweet. Check this out. It says full moon. Like I typed in full moon in Virgo. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. When you have a search engine, it'll complete it for you. Like you'll be typing full moon and it'll complete it for you. But this said full moon in Virgo, mystic mama. Because that's exactly what it is. See, we're getting ready to go into Pisces in the 8th house. Let me just say this right here. See, Pisces is more like the spiritual. The archangel cards and you know, going to Christianity or church or something like that. But there's different levels of spirituality. But Scorpio is more like the mysticism, like higher sciences and a deeper connection with spirits and secrets and mysteries, and that's the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is kind of mixed that type of way. And then you have the Catholic Church, but then you have the Protestants that give you a form of spirituality, but it's usually standardized or really controlled. And so you got the Catholic Church that'll put some of the books in the Bible that the Protestants won't put in their Bible, but the Catholic books use some of those books that deals with what I'm talking about. Higher sciences and things that you wouldn't see in your Protestant Bible. So the more you break the matrix and get back to who you really are, the more you'll understand what I'm saying. And you won't be so upset to say, hey, nobody's going to tell me what to do or whatever. Because that can only... it just depends. Some people need to argue. Like some people, that's why they stay together, because they love to argue. Some people don't. You understand? But the more a person stops letting this matrix dictate who you are, the better off you'll be. You won't feel like you got to fight for everything. Like your ego won't get the best of you. And that's why I try to teach people what the universe is really saying. Yeah, I could sit here and lie to people and make a lot of money, but I didn't come here for that. I was always a spiritual person long before I got into metaphysics, and this stuff is relatively newer to me. But I've been around for a while with spiritual, serving, and all that stuff. So they said the full moon in Virgo is a mystical mama. And that's exactly what I would say. All right, I don't go to Thought Code all the time, but I want to go there now. But we're going to come back. I'm just getting the full moon and and there will be a full moon in Virgo on March 1st, 2018. So you might want to learn more about that. And I can offer that as a service as well. Now this is somebody on YouTube. Let me check out who this is. And they posted this video on February 5th, 2018. Now I can't play the audio because then I'm gonna they would hit me with copyright. All right. I want y'all to hear her though.
March 1st in the sign of Virgo at 11 degrees. Now, a full moon happening in Virgo is actually kind of awesome because one of the things you want to do is you usually want to reevaluate.
All right, I can't play anymore. Now, her name is Stormy Grace. And when you think of Storm, see, I don't even know if she knows what her name means. I'm not saying that to be funny, but Storm is the wind. The wind is Mayat. Everything was created by Mayat. And then the Bible calls it the Holy Spirit. But the wind is Mayat. She created everything out of chaos with a great wind and rain and everything. So that's your Storm. And then Grace is a Virgin Mother Mary. But the Virgin Mother Mary is also Isis. So she's showing you Mayat with Isis. And if you study the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see Isis standing before Osiris. And Isis allowed Osiris to sit on the throne. But really, Isis sat on the throne. And if you really watch your Egyptian women, when they hug their pharaoh, they hug him in such a way that's kind of patronizing. And I have a friend out here. He hated that. Because see, his twin, she's definitely got connections. She's got connections to the Aztecs, and just all that stuff really is connected to ancient Egypt. However they did it. Because they gave us a false history. But that's why you got Mayans and Aztecs still building pyramids. Because they're connected to the ancient Egyptians. And so she could tell you about Egyptology, in my opinion, better than anybody I ever heard. His twin, and she looks exactly like a Aztec empress, or because Dolo says do not say queen. He says queen means whore, so he says say empress. So whenever she would hug him, like she hugged him in a picture. But he didn't like it because he could tell it was kind of patronizing. Because the way they hug you is to say, I'm really the power, not you. But that's Egyptian. It's totally Egyptian. So she's only doing what's inside of her because she knows who she's from. And she, like I know, who she is. Just like I know who he is. I know the past lives and stuff. So so you would have Isis standing before Osiris, who sat on the throne. But he was only allowed to sit on the throne because Isis let him. Just like you have the Protestants lied to you a lot because they're very patriotic, and they blame the Catholics for being very, very patriotic. But at the same time, at least the Catholics do acknowledge the mother. So you can't really say they're overly patriotic because they love the mother. Like somebody like Pope John Paul, he loved the divine feminine, Mother Mary, and the first thing Saint Francis did when he became Pope, he took Benedict, and they both bowed down to the Black Madonna because they know who the Mother Mary is, or the Isis. So you can't say that they're patriarch solely because they're not. They're more into mysticism and stuff like that, if you ask me. So Isis would stand before Pharaoh, who sat on the throne, but then he would be surrounded by the wings of Mayat, meaning she was protecting him and guiding him and things. But the point being made is, without that feminine presence, he wouldn't have Jack. And so what the Divine Mother does to these men that think they're so great, they end up wearing skirts, like Pharaoh wore a skirt. And these judges, they wear black robes. The black is the divine darkness, which is the Divine Mother. And then he has to put on a robe, and that's to show that he's really in subjection to the feminine energy. Even the word reverend, that's something for a female. That's a feminine term. So these are higher metaphysics. So when you see Stormy Grace, which is her name, Stormie, space Grace, she's showing you the divine feminine with her spirit, which is Mayat. You're seeing Isis in the spirit of Mayat. And the real Trinity is Isis first, Mayat, and then the male was always the son. And that's where people get confused. But your Bible tells you the Father, the Son, I and the Father are one. See, they tell you the secret mysteries, but you've been taught that you don't even think about it. But they're telling you the secret mysteries. Now, so they're saying a full moon in Virgo on March 1st, 2018. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a super moon because it's going to be 2 super moons in March. So this reading can also help you for that. So what's going on now with these super moons? They're trying to force people out of the matrix. They're trying to force you. And that's, again, why your true north node is in Leo. Because that's me or somebody like Pink Pineapple Tarot. That's Leo energy. And they have to lead people back to astrology. Not just using astrology for love and career, but using astrology to realize it's supposed to be guiding your life. And the more you submit to that, the more you won't have a problem being patient with your twin when your twin is cutting up and acting all crazy and stuff. Whereas when if you don't do it the astrological way, you're going to do it the matrix way, which is ego. Why does she keep calling here if she's going to keep hanging up when I pick up the phone? Why does she keep calling me on different phones? What's wrong with her? See, that's all ego. That's third dimensional matrix. But when you start to ascend out of the matrix, you're like, okay, I'll just be patient. She needs more time or whatever. So that's what's going on. So again, this is Stormy Grace, full moon in Virgo on March 1st, 2018. And we're still going to explain more of what that really means. Full moon in Virgo. I'm going to say Tarot. Tarot.com. Full moon in Virgo. All right. So let's go back. But first, before we do that, So we still what we really want to look at now. We want to look at Mars and Aquarius. Mars and Aquarius. Just give me a moment. This is called astrologyk.com. I think I've used them before, maybe, but I don't usually use them. But I'm being drawn to use it, but I'm not done yet. A lot of Hindu websites are coming up for Mars and astrology. And like I said, I do use the Hindu. I definitely like using them for the moon sign. But if it doesn't resonate, I will use the Western and the North American astrologers. But just sometimes Hindu will say things like you were disrespectful to your parents, and now like they'll say things that like, well, how do you know that? Like, because I don't want to say something negative if I can't back it up. Now I will say something that may appear negative if I can back it up, because if they can't accept it, that's not my problem. That's their problem. You got to deal with reality. But I'm not just gonna sit here and just shoot out stuff with no type of. That's why I love the natal charts, because I'm not really impressed by somebody telling me, oh, this and that, because I can't prove that. It could be true, but it may not be true. And then where are you getting your information from? Who's telling you? I'm really like an investigator. I love what I do. So I use the natal charts because you can see everything, you can research it and everything. Everything I do is always some type of reference or something. And I definitely understand intuition too. Don't get me wrong, but you just got to be careful because you don't know who's leading you to that destination. And so many people get abused and taken over and taken advantage of because you're just following intuition. You got to have some type of solid ground. All right. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to get all this organized. This is astrologyk.com. They're going to do a Mars and Aquarius. And we're going to do the Mars and Aquarius female as well. First thing I want to do is copy this and put it on a WordPad document because I can increase the font size so I'm not sitting here straining my eyes. Come on, come on, come on. Now, some people might say, you did my natal chart. I'm a guitar player. You never mentioned that. Okay, sometimes with stuff like that, we would need to use angel card reading. That's an angel card reading because an angel will bring it out. Like Sandalphon might come out and he plays a ukulele. So then that's how I know that you play an instrument. And then also they're going to give you the cards because I know astrology. So I know the cards. And then I know how to look in your house for more information. Alright, Mars in Aquarius is a bit difficult to figure out, and they like it that way because they like to surprise others. They find conventional methods boring and look for new, innovative ways to accomplish their goals. They are original and unique. So that's how you're going to go about your seventh house, your contracts, your love. Now I don't know what type of person you are. I don't even know if you deal with you have to deal with agreements, but Aquarius in Libra or contracts, They may not care about the conditional way. They may, oh, your word is good enough, which isn't smart. That's bad business. But they may say that, oh, your word's good enough. Like they'll say something like, I know where you live, or something like that. Don't worry about, I know where you live, or some crazy stuff. Aquarius Mars is proud of their own independence. But see, again, you're in the 7th house of relationships. You see? So how can you be proud of your independence? But that's the codependent house because it's a relationship. They wouldn't have it any other way. They can stand up for themselves quite well. While open-minded and progressive, they can be surprisingly stubborn, which is going to take you to your Taurus as well. They don't like to feel trapped. It makes them rebellious. See, that's that whole Uranus. See, because like you're still fighting a past life in this life. If they know you found a pattern in their behavior, they're sure to change it. Aquarius Mars has a lot of ambition and energy, especially for mental and intellectual projects. And again, that's going to also be Gemini and Mercury, because they're very intellectual, but so is Virgo. And Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. They are a bit scattered, but pull it all together to finish a project. And that's good, because when you get to your 12th house, it's all about completion, endings. At times, they appear utterly mad, but somewhere in there, it all makes sense. They are good at getting what they want. They have a strong will that they're not afraid to show. Combined with their innate cleverness, they are very creative in getting their own way. They can be the dominant force in a relationship without their partner even realizing it. Mars in Aquarius is willing to let others be themselves. So your Aquarius rules your 11th house, but they also put your 11th house in your 12th house, but we'll talk about that. They value, we'll talk about both houses. The 11th house is on your chart, but also the 12th house, which is now your 11th house. We'll talk about it again a little bit. They value freedom and individuality, both yours and theirs. They like to feel they have plenty of space and freedom. They are not very sentimental. They come across as detached, even in an intimate relationship. They like to run the show. It's funny. Oh, this is what I love. This is because, see, Leo and Air, because I got a friend that's Aquarius, and we're on opposite sides, so we definitely challenge each other. Now they say that Leo is a overt bossy, like a Leo is overt. Everybody knows there's Leo, but they say Aquarius is a covert bossy. Like it's the same thing, but he's just more sneaky with it. So they like Mars and Aquarius likes to run the show. They are well organized and can make a good leader. So this person has very good leadership skills. Mars and Aquarius is often the reformer, the one against the establishment. They are nonconformists and demand compliance from those that follow them. Mars in Aquarius is into anything new and unusual, and their sex lives too. What is exciting one day is totally boring the next. They like to experiment and have a creative imagination. They will try anything at least once. See, the good thing about astrology, even though people don't realize that, when you know all this stuff about yourself, now when you go, like if you go on a date, right, and you say, oh, this guy is so boring, he doesn't have anything to talk about. But like all this stuff I'm reading today, that's a whole lot of stuff you could talk about. You could choose what to talk about, but that's how you're supposed to get, that's what a date is supposed to be. Let's get some communication going. Let's see common ground. Let's make some goals together. That's a date. But nowadays, it's like, oh, what can he do for me? Or he didn't do this, or he didn't say that, or he's boring, or he's... And that's why the date fails. And that you might be sitting right next to your twin, but you're just acting. You're just on some crazy stuff. But that's what the Matrix does to you. But when you know astrology, you'll have a whole lot to talk about, because then you can start to tell a person what your personality is. And then they'll know how to respond. Even if you have a profile, let's just say you're on a dating website, it's better off if the person kind of knows this kind of stuff, because they know what they're getting into. Therefore, when they contact you, just make sure they read your profile or whatever. Then they kind of got an idea. But if you don't say anything about yourself, or you're secretive or mysterious, how is somebody going to relate to you? And then you're mad at them. You're mad at them because they can't figure it out. But everybody's not psychic. So they will try anything at least once in fantasy, if not in real life. Stimulating their mind works very well. That's how Gemini is. Gemini is a lot like Aquarius. They are in it more for the fun than for any real passion or affection. Now Gemini and Aquarius, they both don't like deep stuff. Like they don't really like. Gemini just wants to know what's going on, and that's good. And Aquarius kind of too, because Aquarius wants that freedom. They don't really want to feel that they owe something. But that's why when you see Scorpio come in some of these signs or houses, it's trying to force these individuals to become more mature. And Saturn will do that too, because if they don't, they won't grow up. They may seem attached to their partners. They will be faithful unless they get bored. Aquarius Mars can drive their partner mad with their don't care attitude. Sex over the phone or computer is intriguing for them because it is all imagination. They crave variety and excitement. Now this is woman with Mars and Aquarius. They like men who are friendly, outgoing, and sociable, but also very independent and quite cool and aloof. So in other words, a guy has to be aloof, because if he seems like predictable, she's not going to be turned on. Your ideal man might be slightly odd and off the wall, a kooky scientist, a political activist, or someone who is simply a bit of a misfit, interested in astrology and other bizarre things. He probably has a large circle of friends and a strong sense of community. So now they're talking about your 11th house. All for one, all for one and one for all, and he may be a bit of a revolutionary. So that's what you want in your relationship, because that's what's in your 7th house. Very, very good. All right, before we go further, we're now going to deal with Mars. We're going to deal with the moon in Virgo. The moon is the fastest of the moving planets, but some people don't even consider the moon a planet anymore. Because the moon moves so quickly, the moon passes through each of the 12 zodiac signs every month. Just as the sun has a placement in our chart, so does the moon. When the moon is in Virgo, you will feel like a Virgo. Virgos love order and cleanliness. You'll feel a stronger urge to organize your living spaces during the Virgo moon transit. This is an excellent time to work with any projects, as Virgo is a diligent sign and has an uncanny ability to analyze the critical details most of us would miss. Virgos love to volunteer. Sometimes they're the first people to volunteer. Virgos love to pitch in. So they love to serve others. That's why Virgo rules the 6th house of service. When the moon is in Virgo, you may feel more motivated to take your health more seriously. You might find yourself reevaluating your diet and nutrition, or possibly taking up a new fitness regimen. Don't be afraid to get out there and flex those muscles. Full moon in Virgo. This will be a time when you get lost in your thoughts and find yourself dreaming about the future. The full moon in Virgo helps us balance this out by bringing us back to reality, showing us how we can make these fantasies a reality. Virgo is an earth sign and is practical, but it is related to Mercury, which means it has an active mind, because Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So you're known for your intellect, curious mind, and intuition. Virgo likes to cut through the noise and get through the good stuff. They're constantly sorting out thoughts, feelings, and everything around them. Virgo can figure out what is useful and useless, what's true or not true, what's right and wrong. And Virgo's motto is I analyze. Virgo can be viewed as being critical. But one thing about a Virgo, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. They don't like to be criticized. So you got to remember that. They say Moon and Virgo are some of the most loyal people you'll meet. But they will examine every aspect of a relationship. So they want to know what they're getting into before they get into it. And once a Virgo decides to be with you, they're in it for the long haul. Virgo is in a full moon. Virgo means a sunny Pisces, and that means that this is devotion and magic. It has a spectrum from the worldly to the unworldly, and that's spiritual versus earthly. So this person deals a lot with imagination, and that's why you got the whole Aquarius, Neptune. So they'll deal with it, but you just have to be careful. You don't want to just. The world is going to be realistic, so you don't want to because some people might go out and it might seem like it's a great night. Oh, he's a great guy. Oh, it's a great night, and you go all the way, and then you regret it because he wasn't so great, and now you look back, you just got caught up in a moment. So you just want to be careful of that. So when a full moon comes, like that full moon in March, it's going to deal with Neptune and Pisces and imaginations and things. So you got to really be grounded to a certain degree. Because don't get me wrong, I mean, there's nothing wrong with idealism and fantasy and stuff, but you just don't want to play yourself out. And remember, the Neptune rules Pisces. Pisces is about sacrifice. So that's when, and Virgo is about service. So that's when you might dive into something that you may wish you had waited. All right. Full moons bring inner tides. The material of the psyche is surfacing. This full moon brings home the reality that is useful to have a basket of strategies that work in different situations. So that's because Virgo is a planner. All right. So again, so did we do that? So okay, so we did part of fortune in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th house, right? All right. So what I'm gonna do is try to bring part of fortune back, a good fortune. Now we're gonna do good fortune in good. I believe that's Mars. Good fortune conjunct Mars. The person with this conjunction will exhibit assertive and pioneering qualities instinctively. They will be able to focus on one endeavor at a time and work at it by himself to completion. And get you so he said Mars and good fortune. He didn't say nothing about Virgo, but that's what Virgo does. Virgo can focus and bring it to an end, bring it to a completion. Right? But anyway, it's an Aquarius anyway. But it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So now we're doing good fortune conjunct. Well, we did Mars, so we want good fortune in Aquarius. This person is idealistic, which I keep warning about because we live in a realistic world. Like I said, I'm not trying to stop anybody from having fun, but you don't want to make decisions that you regret. You know, you try. I mean, we're all going to do that to a certain degree, but you just don't want to get yourself caught up in stuff you could have, just been a little bit more realistic. Aquarius is idealistic, innovative, and unique. The person with the good fortune Aquarius will find their happiness and success by making a contribution or invention that is of benefit to all. So you're looking for a partner that does that, that's going to help you with your community and helping people. And going back to your third house with Libra, because Libra rules your seventh house. So you want somebody to help you with the community. If they can't help you with the brotherhood in the community, you're not going to really be that interested in them. Now your eighth house is where your sun sign is. So here's a person with the sun sign in the dark house, because the eighth house is Scorpio going into the underworld with Pluto. So they're able to take things that are dark and hidden, and they'll be able to shine light on them and even communicate them with Mercury to other people. And they're highly psychic because they got the whole spiritual, Pisces, intuitive, discerning, going into the darker side with Scorpio, the mystical side, the secrets, the hidden mysteries. So she has a big Mother Mary thing going on, because that's Mother Mary, the Catholic Church. Spiritual for the Christians, but also deeper to the divine feminine. And that's why they tell you the Catholic Church knows about space. And they tell you that the Catholic Church owns the most powerful telescope there is. So why would the Catholic Church own them more? Because this is that mystical side we're talking about. Because they know it's life out there and they know what's going on. In the book of Revelation, did you know that's about the eighth house of the astrology? The bottomless pit. That's the underworld ruled by Pluto. And that's why Scorpio is there. If you read Revelation chapter 9 about the bottomless pit, it talks about the Scorpio. The tail of the scorpion. It's the eighth house. Now your ninth house again is ruled by Sagittarius. You high telekinesis, foreign things, foreign lands, foreign people, foreign language, long distance, philosophy, religion, class, whatever, higher education, but also the person has class, religion, philosophy. But that's what you love to do. Go, 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 and learn, learn, learn. And it's love there. And you got the 22, which is a twin flame number. And then as you see, Aries. To the chart on the right, his Juno, which means he's going to find himself in a serious relationship with somebody in the ninth house with Aries energy. And that Aries energy is pretty much so you. But it could also be them because it's your twin. And that's healing for you to get out and travel. And that's the best way you guys can just go, go, go. Because then you'll have a lot to talk about. And you love going and traveling and learning. And there you go. And even in his house, where Gemini is, that's the twins. He has Virgo. See, he wants to be with somebody too. And that Aries energy, that Mars rules Aries. Now your 10th house is where you're going to make a lot of money. Because you even got Taurus there. Taurus represents your second house, which is money, possessions, and value systems and finances. And then you got Jupiter there. So you're going to make a lot of money in your career, or everything we've been talking about your career, where you see Capricorn, because Capricorn rules the 10th house too. The only thing you have there in Juno, is Lilith retrograde. And the 10th house is not good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because Lilith will set you up with a scandal and then expose you. And right now Jupiter is exposing everything in Scorpio. This is why you see so many people getting in trouble, losing their positions. Famous people that have been famous for decades. Now they can't come out in public. Some of these people might get some jail time throughout the world. That's going on because Jupiter is exposing the hidden stuff. And this is why you don't want to have dark secrets and hiding stuff in your subconscious. The astrology gives you the opportunity to get rid of it, especially in your ninth house. You want to deal with it and you'll be better off, and you'll have a better relationship with your twin. So be careful of Juno. Be careful of Lilith retrograde in your 10th house, because Lilith retrograde in the 10th house definitely means scandal, and then it gets found out, especially with Jupiter. Medium quality is also another aspect of your true north node, your life purpose. So that is your life purpose service. That'll also become a career for you, your career and reputation, and you'll make good money there too. Moving on to your 11th house again, Gemini. We already learned that. You are the brotherhood. You and your twin are the brother. That's why Gemini rules your 3rd house. In your 3rd house, you see Libra. That rules your 7th house. When you go to your 7th house of relationships, you see Aquarius. This is all brotherhood. Gemini and Aquarius are all about the community, all about the brotherhood. Friends, association, groups, neighbors, family. So you want somebody to be with you to share that opportunity. Now this is your 12th house, and there it is, a family. So what they want you to do, Vesta really wants to see the family happy, and Vesta wants the family to be spiritual. But wherever you see Vesta on your chart, be careful, because that means that's where you're going to spend a lot of your energy, and you have to be careful of burning yourself out or having health problems. And remember, the 4th house with Cancer deals a lot with the heart. So in your 12th house, they're saying all the stuff you got going on with your 4th house or your family, whether it be education, family, land and property, real estate, ancestors, the heart, vehicles. But you have to bring that to an ending. And what does it mean by ending? Because you have to bring it to a point where anything that's hidden has to come out. Because your 4th house, ruled by Cancer, is Scorpio. So we know something's hidden. And even like Pink Pineapple Tarot says a lot. Whenever you see the moon, that could be hidden stuff as well. So this is going to be a cleanup. And that's why you might really be interested in that Virgo moon of March 2018. Find out where Jupiter is. Is Jupiter still in Scorpio? Find out what's going on, because it's revealing things. So you have to come to terms with family situations and things, even possibly past life stuff. But you have to come with terms, and because this is the house of karma, and it's the house of ending. So the universe is telling you to be brave to bring that to a conclusion. All right. So that is going to end the left side. And that was a female who requested this. And now we're going to move over to the right side, which will be her twin, the male. All right. Now we're going to continue. All right. I believe we definitely did his 12th house, because a lot of stuff on his chart going to be like hers, just letting you know. So on his chart, I'm mostly looking at the retrogrades. But now his was 12th house, which is the first house, and everything we already did. He's got the mother, he's got the whole mother, the divine feminine moon with the divine masculine Leo, because Leo with the sun. But you see the number 17. Now the number 17 is a Magi priest, but it's also karma, and then 19 has to deal with, at the end of the day, has to deal with space. And you see how his moon got 22 in it, like his twins Venus got 22 in it. So 22 is kind of like the twin flame number 22, and it's 1111, which is also 4, which is angelic. So his first house, again, just like hers, a leader. But he's got to be careful too, because Vesta is where he's going to put most of his energy into that, and he can actually get sick. And they already told you about the moon could be the heart trouble. Leo could be heart trouble. So he's got to be careful. See, got to learn how to just slow down, be patient, and work with people. That's really what, whether it's the 12th house or the first house, we've already learned. You got to learn how to not run over top of people or bully people. You have to learn how to work with people, especially children. It's going to be the same advice. Whenever you're dealing with Lilith retrograde, you just have to be careful because Lilith retrograde is very internal. They could be mad. You don't even know that they're mad. You don't know why they're mad. And they can also blow up. Because remember, your first house is dealing with a lot of Aries energy. And that is your first house because that's what the universe has made it into. Even though it's still dealing with the 12th house as well. So with Moon and Leo, he's gonna have, like I say, he's gonna have that Sun spirit energy and then fire, but he's also gonna have that Moon internal, subconscious, psychic energy, motherly energy, nurturing energy. All right, now the 12th house, not a lot of activity there. But it's still about working with the family and being compassionate to others. Even if you're in a community, is having a family mentality towards them and really caring about them. But I want to see one thing, so give me a moment. All right, I'm just looking at a couple of things. So they're kind of implying that his prenatal experience may not have had a lot of events around it, but that his mother was just worried about security issues, basically, because that's the moon. But you could say nurturing, but just worrying about maybe security and health and making sure that everything went well, his birth. All right, let's continue. So again, his second house is a lot like hers, but Pluto is going to shake something up there. And Pluto's going to shake something up there. Pluto retrograde is going to shake something up there and take something away. But that's so he can move on or accept. And I'm assuming it will have something to do with the relationship because his chart is following her chart. Because it couldn't mean without the universe intervening with these retrogrades and these shakeups and this karma that they would not they might not have they wouldn't unite in this lifetime. So things have to be taken away. Plans, because Virgo makes plans, plans have to be overthrown. And again, you had that whole relationship thing going on in the third house, just like hers. And like I said, depending on his real time of birth, that Pluto retrograde might even really be in a second house, just like hers. That's why I said it's one of those things. But I looked everything over just to see. Because what I'm saying is that chart to the right, if we knew his time, it might more mimic the chart to the left. So again, that Uranus shakeup is just it's still a shakeup, but it's going to do the opposite. We already talked about many extremes, but we found out she likes that though. She doesn't want to she wants him to be that way. Because we learned that in her seventh house that she actually doesn't want to be bored, and if things got predictable, she would be bored. But he ain't gonna be bored because he's got Uranus, so he could be switching. Uranus, he's going from two extremes, but never a middle ground. Just hot, hot or cold, cold or hot, but never like a middle ground. So that's how his third house is. Everything I said about the third house, and we already explained the Libra in the third house, so we're not gonna do that again. And then what Jupiter does, Jupiter it's kind of funny. So he's going to be really, because see, Jupiter retrograde makes you look at things that you didn't really like before, and now you start to say, oh, it's not that bad. Oh yeah, I could do that. Even though not too long ago you would have been like, oh, you'll never see me in a red flannel jacket. I hate flannel jackets. And then all of a sudden he's like in a red flannel jacket, like, dude, you just got finished saying. But that's Jupiter. Jupiter retrograde makes you look at things that you didn't like before, and that's the social planet like Saturn. So his relationship gonna be crazy. He's gonna really have like a crazy relationship because it'll keep changing. And again, like I said, if the time was more better known, it may be different. But that's all I got for now. And it almost takes you into the fourth house, which we've already explained that. Got to be careful of Neptune retrograde because Neptune retrograde really is about escapism, but Neptune retrograde also deals with it makes your intuition go up. I already told you that, so you can become more intuitive, especially with Scorpio. But you also got to be careful of viruses and your immune system. So you guys to really take care of yourself with a Neptune retrograde, especially since that's also your travel house, and that also could be you're around a lot of people because people love to have fun. And if you notice his fifth house, notice how it forms that pyramid and goes right to Leo. So he's got a lot of Leo energy, but not just that, it's also the moon energy. All right. Again, sixth house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Virgo energy. House of service and home. Again, Capricorn, Sirius. Still saying a home business. And like I said, I would definitely say that Virgo is going to suffer some type of loss. But again, that's only if that's a correct placement of Pluto retrograde. But wherever that Pluto retrograde would end up in, that's a house that's going to experience some type of loss. Sudden loss. Very impactful. We already did the 6th house. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We already did the 7th house with Aquarius. They both like uniqueness, weirdness, randomness. 7th house, true north node. So like I said, he's extremely psychic as well. Highly intuitive, highly psychic. Neptune retrograde can deal with past life as well. Can be escapism. Be careful of the drugs. Because he's got a Neptune retrograde, Scorpio, and Pisces in the 7th house. Could be very into, but this could even be a person who uses drugs to go to different dimensions and different realities. Because they're more, both of them are more like that, and I think more so he is, if these placements are correct. But they're more comfortable in other realities, even if we call it fantasy. But they're more comfortable there than what we would call, especially with him, because he has that escapism with the Neptune retrograde. And Palace is going to help him see symbols. And see that 919? So that's him, 919. And that's a unique synchronicity, 919. And we already know that he's going to find in his 9th house of travel, aggressive travel, traveling all the time, love to travel. And he's going to find an Aquarius, somebody with Aquarius and Sagittarius energy, is going to want to do the same thing. And that's what you see on her chart. Her Juno is right there with Aquarius and Scorpio, and then right where her Aries is in the 9th house is Venus. So she loves to do the same thing, and that's going to be healing for both of them. So the more they travel, the better off they'll be. And then nurturing there with the Curious, looks like he's a nurturer. With the Curious, looks like a hook, a pirate's hook. Now his career, once again, now he's going to be a leader. There's that Saturn. He's going to be a leader. And at first, this is what I think, and it may have already happened. At first, she's not going to like that too much, that Saturn and his personality. But I think she'll get used to it. But he's going to be the Saturn, so he's going to be the leader, the administrator of the business. But this is where he needs her. He's not going to be understood when he communicates. He may have trouble communicating. He may have trouble with his thoughts communicating. He may have trouble with communication equipment. He may speak, but people don't know what he's talking about. They take it the wrong way. So he's going to really need her because she's way better with communications than he is. Because he's got that Mercury retrograde, which definitely implies communication problems. It can also imply that in a past life he communicated and it caused either persecution to himself or persecution to people that were listening to him. And so now in this life, he's a little shy at communicating. So he's really going to need her to help. And because Taurus is there, he could even come on a little off as a little pushy, which is why he might want to leave the communication to her. And that is his sun sign, and Taurus can be very strong. The big thing with Taurus is this: they just add value to people, and you can't do that. So you can add value to possessions, but you can't add value to people. You have to learn how to treat all people the same, even if Dennis is more beneficial to you than Paul. But that doesn't mean you devalue Paul. You have to learn to treat all people the same. But one thing about a Taurus is, for some reason, people will want to do what a Taurus wants them to do. Like if a meeting is going on and they're going one way, if Taurus walks in a room at that time, they'll actually start to gravitate to what Taurus would want them to do, or what Taurus would want them to do. And you say, well, how is that going to be possible with the Mercury retrograde? Not really sure how that works out, but I know for a fact that the other signs on the chart tend to follow what Taurus wants them to do usually. And notice how he has 22 twice there. So his sun sign is directly connected to Medium Coeli. And Medium Coeli is kind of like what his life purpose is. So his life purpose would be some type of career with Taurus. And Taurus is about possessions and value systems and finance. But you just got to be careful with Taurus, especially with Leo energy. Because Taurus and Leo just wants to have fun, very sensual, loves massages, loves to eat. But in Leo or the 5th house, Taurus will spend. He'll get caught up in the fun and spend without thinking. And that might be why Pluto retrograde is there. He may suffer loss because of that. Have to learn to be more frugal. Like he'll invest foolishly. Somebody could come up to him with an investment scam, and instead of him checking it out, he'll just invest and lose a lot of money. But maybe that's why Virgo is there, because Virgo is more analytical, more planning things out, and wants to know more facts. But that is his Medium Coeli. So his 8th house with Pisces is connected to his 10th house with Taurus. And the 11th house, again, is communications, brotherhood. That's all good, but he's passive aggressive. Venus and Mars. So why would he be passive aggressive? I'm sure it has something to do with her because she has a strong Mars presence in her Aquarius. Aquarius rules the 11th house. We're looking at his 11th house. So I'm sure that's dealing with him and her, believe it or not. But a lot of times when people are passive aggressive, it's because they smile on everybody's face, but they don't really like, they might feel like, hey, I really helped this person, and how come they weren't as eager to help me, or they didn't really say thank you, or they took credit for something I did, and so that's passive aggressive. So you have to be careful because they might just blow up. Because remember, Gemini is a brotherhood sign, and Aquarius, which rules the 11th house, is a community sign, and ultimately they're very similar, very similar. So he's got to watch his social skills with people and watch a passive aggressive attitude. And then again, like I said, Lilith can be like that. Lilith can be very quiet, but the whole time she's getting upset. And you see that in his 1st house, and that's Aries energy, and Mars rules Aries, but that's also kind of like his 12th house. And again, we already concluded that the 12th house is all about family with Cancer. So any family issues he's got to deal with. Any shadow stuff, dark stuff, he's got to deal with. That's what they're going to try to get him to do in his life. Because if he keeps escaping or running from that house, it's not going to benefit him. All right, so that concludes these 2 signs. Yes, they are twins. Gave a lot of information on how to deal with it, how to get the most out of your natal chart. All right. If anybody has any other questions like this, we do anything that has to do with numerology, intuition, your life purpose, twin flames compatibility, relationship compatibility. It could be brother and sister compatibility, mother compatibility. What is your life purpose? What does your natal chart say about your life purpose? We do life purpose based on numerology and your birth date. All that information in the description box. Everybody should make sure they have the services offered and price list. We have sales going on right now. Next 2 months are going to be phenomenal. We got a new moon coming up in about a week here in February 2018. And then March is going to have 2 more super moons just like January did. Starting off with March 1st, super full moon in Virgo. So this is all the information you want to look at and get a gist of. Again, everything's in the description box. God bless.